Welcome back, everyone. Joe, Mike, and a special guest, Raz, buildassetsonline.com. Raz is one of our longtime students, and we've had him on before, but we're bringing him back on. He's hit the over 2 million in sales at this point. And, honestly, me and Mike were talking about it. We have some questions for him because we don't know what he does, what his data. It seems like he's always doing other things, not too much focus on the stores, but the sales keep coming. We were looking at the charts. Maybe I'll pull in some of the sales screenshots of your store. I'll have to pull that up. But while I do that, Raz, how's it going? What's going on?
Just hanging in there, getting by.
Remember the last time you came on the show? How long ago that was?
I think that was like early. I think it was like January 2021.
Okay, so we're looking at about a year and a half later.
Yeah.
And here you are. You're still doing it. I think at that point you were, I don't know if you were at $1 million in sales, or if you were
like almost, or like
800,000 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you didn't get it by the title, Raz just hit 2 million in sales on his Shopify stores. You have multiple stores, and you really embody the lifestyle of taking it easy.
Facts.
Joe and I think are I don't know why you're so blurry right now, Raz, but
Am I? Let me try to get my bandwidth.
Yeah, you need more bandwidth. All the Geek Squad. But
yeah, I don't know.
So whatever, they'll have to deal with it. Anyway, you started your store. Why don't you take everyone, I guess, through your story briefly again for anyone that hasn't seen the previous episode we did with you.
Okay, so I was working like a standard kind of 9 to 5 in logistics, doing like customs work, and kind of just like depressed because it was taking up a lot of my time. And I like to be a creative. I like to make movies and catch vibes, and it was just like it was tough to balance that out. Like I felt like I was doing some exceptional work with my filmmaking, but then I wasn't able to really do it when I had the inspiration, because I was like there throughout the day. So I remember you at the time were always kind of like suggesting that I would try a store or try something different online, so I don't have to go into an office and work the traditional 40 hours a week or whatever. So I finally gave into that. I think around like May 2018, I said, all right, it's time that I take this step, or at least try and see what I can do with that. And so that summer, I kind of, as I was still working, I started to build out a store and start calling suppliers. And as I started getting some traction, I like couldn't take the job anymore. So I just quit. And then I kind of like, for a month, I was just not making any money and just trying to make the store work. But then within like that first month of being off of work, I started making sales. So just kind of built up that.
Yeah. So people that didn't, fully get what you're saying, you actually quit your job before you were making any sales. You were kind of just doing, trying to build out the store and get it going. And you got to a point where you said, I can't make both of these work. And even though the dropshipping isn't even bringing me money right now, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like that helped you? Do you feel like it gave you just more time, or was it kind of like a kick in the ass that you had to actually make it work?
Well, it gave me more time, but I also think that it kind of like scared me after like a few weeks. It was like the decision was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to quit this stupid job and I want to start making money. And then as I got into the day-to-day of it, and it's like you're just at home by yourself. You're like working on this store, but you don't know if it's going to work, and you're not making any money. I remember at the time, like I had had a car accident, so I didn't have a car. So I was living the super minimalist lifestyle of just like walking around places or like riding a bike. And I don't know, I started kind of going crazy that month, like thinking like, did I like make a mistake here? Like, am I gonna be able to make this work. But I think ultimately that was like really valuable, like mental work for myself, kind of like being brought down to like a bottom mentally. That's like, all right, so you're either gonna like make this work, or you're just gonna succumb to the same shit that you've already been doing for years. So I think that was valuable. Like it was actually really helpful to not be making money for a while. And then when I got that confirmation that it's possible, it was like, okay, there's no way I'm turning back. Even if I'm gonna have months where I'm not profitable or whatever, I'm just gonna keep going because it's gonna come back around if I just stay at least somewhat consistent with the process.
Yeah, I think there's certainly something to that because when Joe and I, we talk about our story, how we got suspended from Kindle and all that, and we were kind of forced to make dropshipping work. And we had like 2 weeks. Joe had bought a house, and then I quit my job, and then Kindle suspended us, and it was kind of like this moment where you have to really dive deep and make something work. And I think a lot of special things do happen there because you have to commit all of your focus to something.
And you know what? It's interesting. Now that we're talking about this, I feel like it's a little bit less fun when you don't have that. Like though, when we had the time where we were building our first store, and we were building the first couple, those were the most fun times in the making money online journey, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree. It's like you look back on that most fondly because it's kind of like the come up. It's kind of like you're grinding away, and I think when stuff blossoms out of that, it's easy to look back and say, wow, those were good times. But I mean, you don't feel like you were stressed out during that particular time more than you are now.
I mean,
think I was.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
I don't know if he was asking you or me.
I was asking you, Joe, but I guess it's for both of you.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly feel more stressed out when I have like a wandering mind. So I feel like being able to focus on something and knowing like, this is the game I'm playing right now, that actually makes me like less stressed.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, Raz?
Oh, no, I was gonna say I thought I was initially stressed out because I think I just didn't really. I had to kind of break my idea of like. I was always used to just getting a paycheck, so like it breaks the idea of like what money means or like how fast it can come or how slow it can come. Like you can make a sale and that'll be like as much as I would get paid in 2 weeks at the job or whatever. So it's like even if you're having a rough week or a couple weeks, the next day could make it all better. I think that was like what I was working at in the beginning. I think like in those first couple months of doing it, I was like, once I realized that things could change that fast, like just 1 or 2 sales could like change your whole month. I was like, oh, okay, like this is way better than like putting in a better job.
I'm glad you said that because me and Mike were looking at some of your sales numbers, and I have them pulled up right here. This is your first. This is one of your stores.
I feel like that was like a Maury moment.
Yeah, and the lie detector test. No, so here's the other one. So this one has 753,000. But if you look at the dips and the rises like day to day, well, actually, I think this is month to month, right? This must be month to month.
Yeah.
But you have some crazy swings, at least in this store. This one too, I mean, is kind of, you have 1 month where obviously when the screenshot was taken, this month is going to seem low, but you have some crazy months where you're almost 50K, and then others where you're, probably at like 10. And it's for both stores. This is kind of the same pattern. Now, is this because why do you think this is? Are you like, and also another thing is that you have a lot of draft orders. So
fake.
So I'm speculating one or two things. This is fake, or you're dealing with a lot of like quotes and like sending people estimate. Like explain the nature of why this is and like the nature of the businesses that you're running.
Yeah, I think that the draft orders just come from like, yeah, like a lot of people send requests for like quotes, and then they'll have to go through an approval process or whatever, if it's their whatever type of organization that they're buying it for. Um, so yeah, as far as like the I don't really know as like why it's so up and down. I guess I just kind of got used to it over time. I was like, all right, like this is how it's gonna be. I think I could definitely optimize things a lot more if I like dug deeper, but I feel like what happened was like I hit something that worked and then just like maintained that over the years.
We like, when was the last time you touched your Google Ads account?
I haven't made any changes in that in months, probably like a couple months, like before I went to Romania this year, I'd say.
Right. So do you know typically like what you spend each month?
Yeah, it fluctuates between like it's like usually like over 2K a store.
Okay. So I mean, realistically, you're hitting that 10x return on ad spend number. So typically, like when I talk with students, I tell them, if you're spending 2K a month, for example, you want to be getting at least like 20,000 in sales. So like, for every $1 you spend on ads, you want 10 back in revenue.
Yeah.
And I mean, so you're consistently hitting that. And I mean, sometimes it's way over. Like, you have months where it's 50K, or you have months where it's 30K, 40K. And
Hmm.
so those months you're going beyond that. So I'd say if you average that out, you're definitely over 10x return on ad spend. And so with that being said, I want to get to a question here. And guys, if you have questions for Raz, or you have questions just for us regarding dropshipping, just leave them in the chat. We'll get to them, and it helps the algorithm. So feel free to give us some love. We need love. But anyway, Matt says, this seems underwhelming, to be honest. Is this because it was a lifestyle type thing where you only do as much business as you need? Could this have been more over 3 to 4 years if you tried harder?
Okay, hold on.
Oh, sorry. I removed it. Well, I mean, before you respond, I don't feel like it's
Oh,
underwhelming, because number one, this is what, 4 years of you getting consistent results. Like and like you said, it's not like you're going in and you're tweaking your ads all the time and you're trying to crank up the ad spend and all that. You're getting consistent returns on your ad spend for literally 4 years straight, and to the point where you've been able to live life, based off these stores. So I don't see how this is underwhelming, but you can respond to that if you like.
yeah, I mean, I think I do see where he's coming from the perspective that like if you make this your main focus day to day, like I could definitely do a lot more. I could try a lot harder. I could be making a lot more money off of it. Like I think that's valid for him to say. Um, but I think I guess like another part of the backstory of like I remember when you first encouraged me to do something with this online business is that you knew that I was like into filmmaking and kind of like the creative outlets I was into. And like I remember the thing that really encouraged me about what you said was like if you do something like this, you'll have any time in the day when you catch inspiration to like go and create something or whatever you're into. So I guess what separates me from like the typical person that might want to get into this is that I enjoy making money as like a tool to kind of get by in life. But I think like the art that I make or just like the experiences that I have in life or the influence that I could push out through my endeavors is like just as valuable of a currency for me. So like that's probably why I don't spend as much time as somebody that would like be mainly focused on like building the online business. But at the same time, I do think I also have a certain sort of like discipline within myself where, like you said, I will at least make sure that I'm getting a return on my investment each month and, um, consistently having something that's profitable so I can live my life and not being like struggling to get by or whatever. And also, just the last thing I'll say is that I think the beauty of these stores or whatever is that if I ever did decide I was like gonna go harder, like I could do that any day. Like there's no reason that I'm stuck to the trajectory that I've been on. Like if 1 week or like 1 month or 1 year I wanted to just focus on the stores more than my art or more than my other business endeavors that are more experimental or whatever, or my filmmaking, my photography, if I want to just take more time and just put it into the store and work on the SEO, for example, or something like that, then like I could do that and then it'll pay off. So I don't think I'm really like building a grave for myself or like getting married to any sort of like situation, you know. I just think like this was the 4 years of my life, and then it is what it is.
I also feel like, given okay, so we've had a number of students, not too many, probably like 2 or 3 or something, that they've traded, I feel, and maybe Mike could talk more about this, what they've done to their ads and stuff. They've traded consistency um, for trying to spend a lot more and lost some money in the process. So, a lot of times, actually, if you have something that's consistent and you're not spending a lot, like, and it's just making money every month with minimal time into it, I feel like that's the most valuable thing. Because, you could look at these stores and you could say, yeah, I could put more time into them. But when you have something that's consistently earning money and it's the return per hour is higher than what you would get at your job, you can try and grow that, which is going to be like could be risky in itself, or you could build more assets, or you could just do whatever you want to do.
Nice.
So I don't think this is underwhelming at all. And not to mention, when you go to sell it, the consistency over the years is going to be really valuable to a buyer.
Yeah, consistency wins. But the main thing I wanted to say here, in regards to what you were saying, Joe, like how I see a lot of students, I see a lot of their ad accounts. Probably the number one thing I've learned over the last couple of years is to not screw up a good thing. Like people that aren't even necessarily like our students, people maybe we know that we've helped do this in some other instances. They'll start achieving some level of success, and then they get greedy or something, and they want to 10x the ad spend, and they sort of start chasing these like desires, but they're not actually ready to do what it takes to actually 10x their revenue. So they start jacking up their bids, they start jacking up the budget, thinking it's all just going to go well, and before they know it, they've lost everything that they've gained. So not screwing up a good thing is, I don't know what to say. It's really, really important. You have what you have now. You can enjoy it. You could choose to, live your life and have good experiences while this is going on. Or, yeah, I mean, you could try and scale this up, but you have to understand that it can come with the risk of maybe you don't make as good of an ROI for a couple months. Maybe it takes up more of your time for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm confident with these stores that it can be done, but it is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice of your time. It's a bit of added risk to, the financial health of maybe yourself or the store, but it is a risk no matter how you slice it. So we can move on from that, but that's just what I wanted to add.
Yeah, sometimes less is really more. I feel like in the beginning stages, you're really in the grinding phase to get everything set up. But once you get there and you have a formula that works, I think less is more, because you're going to go and change the formula and trying to chase growth in a way that's outside of the framework.
Yeah. And I want to get to a couple questions right now. So I guess we'll start from the top. But like I said, guys, if you have questions, just throw them up. So Matt said first. John Francis said nope. I don't know. Kenneth said what's up. John said if you ain't drinking a potion while watching this, you ain't real.
Nice.
Shout out to Mr. Vaughn's potion. He's wearing the shirt. Kenneth said he's gonna get a potion too. Andre, what's up? He's starting his third dropshipping business this week.
Hey.
Justin said, yo, Kanan said hi. Good vibes. We got a lot of people saying hello. Jeffy, great story. Amazing sports. Hola. So we talked about the overwhelming. Hector Sanchez, do you have any VAs?
So I work with uh VAs to list products and to like update pricing, but I do all like the emails and the phone calls myself.
That's another thing. You know, if we look back at the screenshot, like all that money is going basically directly to you. You're not
Yeah.
having to pay out an employee or really anybody. So, for one thing, you're very on the pulse of the health of your store because you know, all right, I'm not getting that many chats this week compared to what I usually get. I'm not getting that many calls, that many quotes. Like you're on
Mhm.
top of everything. And so you're, I think, in a good position to assess the health of your store. When you have like VAs in place, not saying that that's a bad thing. Obviously, you know, we do that. But the one thing you lose is having that same pulse over what's going on. So yeah, there's less risk involved when you know you don't have people to pay at the end of a bad month, maybe. But yeah,
Okay.
Davidson, what are your margins like?
So the margins, I guess, over the two stores and like each supplier like having different, I would say they range anywhere from like I guess most of my good ones are like between 35 to 40%.
Oh
But
shit.
then obviously there's some that are like 30, there's some that are like 25.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're working with some good margins.
So yes, so I mean, let's say 30% here, and you're doing 2K ad spend a month. I mean, you know, when you have those, that's nothing to sneeze at, actually.
We need like a nothing to sneeze at button. We need like a soundboard.
So I mean, you know, on a month where you do 25K in this store, you're after the ad spend, you're making $5,500. You know, on this, you know, kind of the same here. So that's pretty good. I mean, and again, so you're basically making, you know, what I would say is like a medium level, I guess, salary, you could say. But then when you go to sell this, you know, like say the multiple is you know 40 on 60,000 a year, you're gonna get a large chunk of money, like $250,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's another thing that I always keep in mind is as long as I keep something consistent, then there is that option to sell it if ever I wanted to like just invest a bunch of money into the potions or something.
Buy a
so
house.
what so what yeah, I mean you could buy a house, you could do a lot of stuff with that, and not to mention, I mean, how many so you're the day-to-day working on the stores.
Hmm.
What does it look like for you? Like how are you like on call? Are you like do you have the phone lines open? You're just kind of sitting at the desk waiting for the next call? Are you sitting at the computer waiting for the live chats? What does day to day look like from sunrise to sunset?
Oh man, I kind of just go with the flow. Definitely, I start the morning like uh, checking in on the stores, seeing if I have any emails to respond to. If I'm getting any calls in the morning, I'll take those. Send in any orders that have come up. Just kind of do any like sort of like computer tasks. But lately, honestly, like especially this summer, throughout like the midday, I'll be like just on the go. And then if I'm like out somewhere and I like see my phone ringing, like I'll pick it up and I'll like take the call and stuff like that. But then I'll come back later on in the day and just check in again.
Mhm.
Uh, so I'd say, depending on the day, I might spend more time on the computer, but I don't think I like sit down for like
How many
extended
hours a
hours.
day? How many hours a day would you say you spend on the computer? Like
On the
doing this,
computer.
not on the computer period, but like doing your
Okay,
store.
well, on like including calls and stuff, I could say like maybe like 4 hours or 3 to 4 hours.
Okay. It's no commute,
Um,
no.
yeah, nah. But then other days, like it'll be like a lot more, you know, like if there's a lot more stuff going on. If I'm home, then like I'll go and like see what else I can do for the stores. You know what I mean? Like if I catch myself at home, but I also don't want to like lock myself at home. You know what I mean? Like if there's things going on and I can like catch a vibe, I'm gonna go catch that vibe. But I also put a lot more like I think like you know everything that I do with the potions and everything I do with like my art and stuff. I think it takes a lot of mental power out of the day too. So it's like I don't want to just always kind of be exhausting my like I don't want to be overly stimulated. That's why I don't like to spend a lot of time on the computer. Honestly.
I mean, I like how you're still, you'll be out and then you'll take a call. Like if you're out somewhere, that's like the OG stuff to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think back to, I'm sure I've told you this, how our cousin one time took a call like on the line at Disney World or something, loud as hell. I think he actually got the sale. But yeah, I mean,
that's really the best sales too, when you just like randomly catch a sale. Like,
yeah, it's definitely memorable too. Like, I mean, obviously I don't really do that anymore, but that was a big part of the fun back in the day too. Like, you're out somewhere, you're like, do I take this call right now? And then you take it and it winds up being, something fruitful.
yeah, I remember one time we were on a trip to like upstate New York and I took a call randomly. Like I literally didn't have my phone on me, but we like went to the Airbnb and I like looked at my phone and it was ringing and I took a call and I closed like a $25,000 sale and it was just like it felt lit because like we were about to go out and stuff and I was like, oh, they just made a bunch of money right now.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, you're making me nostalgic. I'm about to fire everybody and just start. Honestly, that's what the type of stuff that happens. Like I remember being in Bali, and the time zone difference is obviously pretty big, and so like it was really late at night on Eastern Standard Time, but it was just in the day for me, and I got a message like on the chat, and I was like, well, nobody's working right now, so I'm gonna take this chat, and it wound up resulting in like a 60K sale. So it's just like weird stuff that happens when you're doing that. But I guess we can get to some more of these questions. But one last thing I wanted to say, I remember one time we were talking about just the stores and stuff, and you said I like having the stores because I forget exactly how you put it, but you said the money is always there. And if you read Robert Kiyosaki, he's very adamant about, like, when it comes to taxes in business, when you have a business, you're always getting paid first. And over time, I've started to see how important that is. Because when you're at a job, before the money even comes to you, they're taking out 30% for the Medicare. They're taking out the Social Security. They're taking out all these things. And then you're the last on the chain. But when you have a business, no matter how big or small it is, you're always first. And then, that money is there. If you need to even like borrow against yourself for something, you have that money. So
There's Martin Scorsese made like this documentary with his parents. It's called Italian American, and it's kind of just like in their New York apartment, and just like a day in the life, like his mom's like cooking dinner, and his dad's talking, and he's saying how his father always taught him that it's good to have a business because then you have money in your pocket. So if you need to take care of your family, you have money in your pocket to do that with. You could then pay your debts and the credit or whatever afterwards. But first and foremost, you have that leverage to like take care of yourself and your family. If it comes
right,
down to it.
yeah, that's what you were saying to me, and yeah, I mean it's totally true, and it's like, yeah, if you put yourself first, then that's the most important thing. Like, obviously, you want to pay your taxes and stuff, but like, worst case scenario, and don't do this as it's not advice, but If you run into some sort of crisis, you have that money. You know, like if you didn't pay your taxes, the IRS wouldn't come after you for like a couple of years or something, probably. So I see Joe freaking out right now as I'm talking about this, but or like, you know, even like a credit card, like you don't pay your credit card for a month, it accumulates some interest, which is stuff that we would never do. But in a worst case scenario, you're getting paid first, and that's all I want to say before Joe has a heart attack.
I kind of want to comment on this, but I don't even want to discuss it any further. Pay your taxes and don't do any of that. Don't do any of that stuff.
I'm not saying to do it.
Well, yeah. It's not, I think it's just like it's like more of like a mental thing, like having that mental leverage of like control over your money. Like it's not to say that you need to do that, but just knowing that you're the one that it's going through before anything else, I think is helpful in living life.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I could see
and
that.
You could also make decisions that affect your taxes, you know, at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you know, say you make $100,000 that year, well, hypothetically, you can go and invest $100,000, you know, buy a store or something else, like do something that's a write-off per se.
You could do it. You could do it. You could use it to make more money if you reinvest it into your business.
Yeah. Whereas, and then you pay less taxes.
Yeah.
So David asked, any mistakes or things you wish you did differently on your store?
I mean, I guess there was definitely mistakes, but I think it's like kind of hard to say like if I wish I did things differently, because I feel like through the different like tough spots or mistakes, like that's where you learn. Like these what ifs, like it's hard to say. Like yeah, obviously if I just like knew before, then I would want to do that, but it's kind of impossible to know. Like no matter like how proven the process is, I still think you're taking a chance when you're taking on a certain supplier and you're the first time working with a certain brand, and then they end up being like I remember there was one brand I was selling a bunch for, but then I kept on having a lot of issues with the clients that was purchasing the units, like defective or just like breakdown after a couple months, and like that was way more of a headache to deal with than like it was worth the money that I was making from that brand. So then I honestly just like stopped working with that brand just to like not have that added stress. So stuff like that, like yeah, I wish I could I would have gone back and not done it, but also it is a valuable experience. So
yeah, I think a lot of times, like you said, when something bad happens, it usually results in benefit down the line because it forces you to put your energy into fixing that situation, you know, and you learn something and you gain experience that you probably wouldn't have gained otherwise.
Exactly.
Matthew said he's taking it easy. Will said, how do you know when you're at the point of not screwing up a good thing? Is the key to be very gradual and slow when it comes to making changes?
Well, I think based off what you like, the way that you were putting up that idea of not screwing up a good thing, I think you basically said that like you need to be ready for like the changes that you're making. So if you're gonna like try to scale up crazy, you need to be ready for that added responsibility and what's gonna come with that. So I think if you are ready, then it's fine to do it faster, I'd say. But if you want to like feel it out and see if you're like built for that advance that you're about to get into, then you should take it slow. And I remember even like when I first started getting VAs to like list my products, I was like hesitant to do it because I never had like managed anyone before or like told somebody what to do. So I was always an employee or whatever. So like I remember you were telling me to do it for a long time, and I kept on just like not doing it, and like listing products myself because I had to kind of like muster up that courage to be like, hey, you know, can you list these products? Like this is how you do it or whatever. Like to teach someone. I feel like these are all like things that you need to find within yourself to be able to do. Like the level that you guys are at and how you scale up is because you've like unlocked parts of yourself. And I feel like certain of those things, like I'm not tuned into in that way. Like I don't think that I would want to like scale up 10x in the same way that you guys would, basically. You know, I feel like it's just like different types of personalities or different types of what you want to sacrifice, like you said, like what you want to get into.
Yeah, because it is like you have to blaze that trail of going from, 50K a month to 100K a month. People think, like you could just flip a switch and it happens. And I mean, in some cases, yeah, like maybe your ad account is in such a way that if you just double your budget, you'll double your sales. But there's going to come challenges of now you have more orders and you're going to get more calls, and there's potential for more breakages, and just, different things are going to start to happen. And these are all challenges you're going to have to be willing to adapt and overcome. So, I mean, when it comes to that point of, you have something you don't want to screw up, I mean, I think it's totally personal. If you're making 3K a month and you're, in Thailand or whatever, and that's, you're able to live like a nice lifestyle and you're hanging out, then maybe that's the point for you. But if, you want to be making 10K a month because that's what you need for your lifestyle in, Brooklyn or whatever, then kind of that's the point. So I don't know. I think it's just something where you find yourself and you're like, hey, like things are going good. I'm making the money I want. That's the point. And you got to decide, do I want to go further, or am I, should I hang out here for a little bit?
But I think, we're talking about this on one individual store. So when you hit a point on one individual store or one individual website, it can be harder to there. And this is going to be different for every website. I feel like let's just say the initial 50 to 100K a month is a pretty easy threshold to hit. After that, there's got to be some trailblazing. Mm-hmm. And this goes the same for any sort of online business you create. I feel like if you have the proper instructions and you're competent, you follow things the right way, you should hit that first threshold without any problems. But then blazing the trail beyond that is difficult. But the other option is to just start a new website and follow the formula again. You could say the same about really anything.
Yeah, I was thinking about it actually in the whole of just like your business, because I feel like us, for example, we're at the point where we have, we had a few big stores and we had some stores that we just weren't paying attention to because it just wasn't worth our mental energy to mess with those. They'd bring in like a little bit a month, and yeah, you didn't, no point in tinkering and having to put in that mental energy into that,
Right. But there's also, so because we were at the point where there's diminishing returns, where if we do these certain things, we're only going to make a couple more thousand a month, or like one extra $1,000 a month or something. So it's like not worth it.
Yeah. Dottie said, this is great. I own a jewelry store that makes 1 to 1.5K gross per week. The work is a lot. I'm going to get into high ticket this year. I've been following you guys for 2 years. Thank you, Ty.
Wow.
I thought there was about to be a question at the end of that, but I didn't read it all the way. Tisaguchi said, how much profit is this? I mean, we went to the math on that earlier, but
someone answered in the chat that someone answered him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people get, obviously everyone wants to know, like, how much profit was it? How much profit was it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I think it's no one's gonna know if you're telling the truth anyway or not.
Well, I think we gave a good estimate, which
we gave
is good because we have his ad spend, and we have his range of product margins. So
yeah. Con said, a question for all three of you. In your experiences, at what dollar amount would you stop spending on ads if you aren't having success? Is $500 enough to experiment with? Well, when you say stop spending on ads, like you could stop spending ads on a product, you could stop spending ads on a brand, or you could stop spending ads altogether and like shut down your store. But realistically, we don't do any of these. You basically just look at it like, all right, if I'm going to make $1,000 profit, if I sell one of these, how much am I willing to spend on that product for it to be worth it? And so maybe you're willing to spend $800 to get that $1,000 profit sale. Maybe you're willing to spend $500. And so it's kind of up to the individual and, you know, just everything that goes along with selling that product to find that right answer.
Well, let me ask. Let me phrase it another way, Mike. Say you have a brand of products that you got an ad account, so you've got 5 brands, and one isn't really doing well. You're not going to stop spending on it entirely, correct?
I would never stop spending on it entirely because, like, if I spent a bunch of money that didn't work, I could always just spend like less per click.
Right.
I could always make the math work out.
Right. So, like, I guess you could say, what's the lowest amount of per month that you'll spend on a brand? Like, what's the minimum that you'd spend if for something that's not performing?
I don't have a number. I would say you could look at things on a monthly basis and say, all right, this brand spent this much. How much did it make back?
Right.
And if you lost money or whatever, then you just lower your bids.
Right. So you'll do a gradual. Per se, you were spending, just as an example, $50 a month on a brand, and didn't make any sales.
Uh-huh.
You'll incrementally lower month over month over month, and then maybe you see a sale, it paid for all that. You'll maybe tweak it up a little bit. So
right, exactly.
Because you're making these gradual changes.
If I spent $50, maybe it was at $1 per click, which is just too high.
Yeah.
So maybe next month I lower the bids down to 50 cents instead of $1, and now I'm going to spend, $25, and the clicks are cheaper. So over time, the math works out to where it gets me a positive ROI. So
right. So you're making these judgments with a good amount of time behind it, which gives you a good amount of information to go off of.
Yeah, with high ticket dropshipping, the math is usually always in your favor, to the point that once you get your bids to a certain sweet spot, it's very, very likely for them to be profitable long term. And then you can choose to get more aggressive as you start to get more sales and more data rolls in, as far as what the best keywords are and stuff like that. So, do you have anything to add, Raz?
Well, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for, I think what he might mean though is like, say you didn't make any sales yet and you started your store, like, I think maybe like, would $500 be enough? Or would you invest even more to get your first sale? Like, what would you say about that?
I mean, we've never been in that position, honestly, where we spent $500 and we didn't make a sale. Because, someone could spend $500, but they screwed it all up. They bid too much in the wrong areas, or, their branded, non-branded splits are bad and stuff like that.
So I think no, go on.
I think $500 is certainly enough to get your, if you spend $500 and you don't make any sales, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be to stop spending, it would be to change something that you're doing.
Right, but $500 shouldn't be like your total risk tolerance, where if you spend $500, make no sales, you have to just shut everything down that you did. And I think this plays to, the whole idea of this interview. Like, you've had your store going for 4 years.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that is you've been able to stay in the game all this time. Me and Joe talk about this. Like, the most important thing is not getting eliminated from the game.
Thanks.
Because, like I said, we've seen people overspend, and now they weren't paying attention to their finances and all this shit, and now they need to file bankruptcy and all this dumb stuff because they just weren't being responsible. I'd rather see someone do what you're doing, 100 times out of 100, because maybe they don't have months where they're getting, $30,000 profit, but at least you're in the game and you're able to fight another day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think the consistency of just, I don't know, like even like kind of what I alluded to earlier about like how that first month of not getting paid from a job and not making any sales from the store. I think I just like a decision was made when I did make the first sale or two that I was like, or probably, and like I was going like mentally in this direction, like the whole like first few months of like running the store was that like it's not always gonna be profitable in the same, like I'm not gonna be able to predict it completely, but like it's always gonna come back around. So like just having that belief that if you're just at least gonna stick it out and be consistent, then it's gonna pay off and you're gonna be okay. I don't think it's good to have that mentality that like if this doesn't work, I'm just gonna stop it. Like you should be ready to like see it out for like a year or something and just like see how it'll perform, like change things. Don't just say like, okay, this doesn't work within the first month.
yeah,
Whatever I tried didn't work, so I'm just gonna stop.
yeah,
Because I feel
exactly.
it makes it way too easy to just like take the loss.
Raz, I got a question for you. I'm looking at one of your stores right now,
Mhm.
and so on some of your product pages, it looks like you've put some effort into them. Is that just me, or have you spent some time on some of your product pages? It seems like
Yeah.
you've put a lot of pictures in the descriptions and things like that.
Yeah, well, I think every time that I get a supplier, I try to get myself familiarized with the product line that they have, and then what I do is I'll like create a product listing myself and try to optimize it as much as I could, make it like you said, add images, add charts, pricing charts for any add-ons or whatever. Make it a good description and then just show that template to the VAs and have them repeat that process. But I think I do, like whenever I get a new supplier, I put in that effort to
Right.
optimize the product page.
Right. And I feel like some people they get a little lazy with this, but you know, and I think maybe they overwhelm them stuff with too many other things, and maybe it's something that we don't emphasize a lot about because a lot of times we just take stuff from suppliers and upload it, but we do continuous or somewhat continuous improvement on product pages in the background. At least we have in the past, like on our store
Mhm.
now, that's getting hitting close to 500,000 a month. On some of those product pages, like we've, changed templates, done all this stuff, all
Mhm.
sorts of add-ons. Just, it's not like it's not like 100%, but I feel like we do the 80/20 of the product pages, and I feel like you've definitely done that as well. And I feel like a lot of people get lazy about that. They don't put themselves in the shoes of the customer. They'll just put in
Yeah,
some generic stuff, and you could take the descriptions, but you're adding these pictures in there. You've made your own charts and stuff like that. So
yeah,
you got to get your mind right on that. You got to get in the shoes of the customer.
yeah. I think and also a good point to add to that would be everyone just like I guess just looking from the outside, like they're doing the course, they're seeing your guys' success. Everyone gets so eager to like get to the results that they're not taking the time to like get to know their niche, get to know the suppliers that they're gonna work with. Like if you get a supplier, especially your first one, I would recommend like taking time to like learn about those products or just get an idea of like the product category you're working within. Because then, especially in the beginning, like if you're gonna be taking the calls and stuff, you can make the sales. Like you could be a real salesman if you like know what you're talking about rather than just like, oh, I got this supplier, let me have someone upload everything and you don't even know like what you're uploading or what you're selling. I don't know if like people do this, but I think that that's like another important thing to like know what you're selling, kind of.
Well, this is actually an important segue because to your point, I think a lot of times what we're seeing now, especially, sorry, is a lot of students will say they'll get like 10 to 20 suppliers, before they even launch or before they're even at like $20 a day in ad spend. And this is something I never thought about before we started doing a lot of coaching, but I've seen it overall be like a detriment a lot of the times because it's like you said, they don't really know about the products as much. Maybe you just literally can't spend enough on ads to give each individual supplier or each individual product type like enough ad spend per day for to see what's good, what's not good. So, do you remember like when you started out how many suppliers you had?
Yeah, I think like when I launched, I had 3 suppliers.
Yeah. And that seems to be kind of a sweet spot. Like honestly, I'd say like 5 is a max
Mm-hmm.
when starting out for suppliers. And like when you add suppliers, do you typically do it one at a time?
Like 1 supplier at a time.
Right. Like I'm not sure how many you've added recently, but are you typically going and getting say one supplier and then you'll add them and then you'll just do that, or are you going to get like
Yeah.
5 at once and then add them?
I usually do 1 at a time. Like obviously at the beginning, I guess there could have been, but like even when I would like, yeah, I remember like there was like this one product category at the beginning that I was getting like a bunch of suppliers for, like one after the other. But I think even then I was like, I would have the suppliers sign the documents, but then like upload it 1 at a time, set up the ads 1 at a time, just so I don't like, at least I know what I'm doing as far as like how I'm setting up the ads and like you said, like allocating for like giving it proper attention, seeing how it does for a few weeks before like, I feel like there's no rush really. Like there's no rush to like
Yeah.
Yeah.
put everything
Maybe,
up.
Mike, you just said that you didn't realize until you had a bunch of students do this. And maybe we didn't realize some things because there was a time when we were just all we were doing was new suppliers, upload. You know what I'm saying? We were really in the mode, especially on the store we sold for 650K. There was a time period when it was just new supplier, new supplier, new supplier. We had like 5 product uploaders at one point, I feel like.
And to be honest, a lot of it didn't even like pan out that well.
I know. That's the thing, and I feel like just looking at Raz's store, it's kind of reminding me about like back to the basics. A lot of focus on what you're doing, and not cutting corners or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there is certainly something to that. And yeah, like Raz said, it's important to know your brands and it's important like
Yeah.
especially when you're getting good margin, like Raz talks about, like you have good map suppliers, high quality products, good margins, then you should 100% be putting in the extra effort to make your product pages nice. Like Joe, I know we've talked about this in the past. We've advised people like, yeah, you don't have to go balls to the walls doing
Yeah.
conversion rate optimization on like all your product pages and stuff like that. And that's because like a lot of the time just doing the basics that we talk about, say in the course, will get you 80% of the way there. And then based on what works, like based on what's actually selling, then you could go in and really put in that extra effort.
I know. Yeah, and maybe I don't know, I guess some people, they just fixate on one thing that we say, and then they forget about the other things, which I see sometimes. It's pretty interesting that some people decide to fixate on a certain aspect of what we talk about.
Yeah, we really do have to be careful with what we say because yeah, it's like we'll say something like on a video, and then a student comes to us and they're doing something that we talked about, in like the 52nd minute of a podcast a year ago. And then it's like, dude, I don't even remember saying this.
And they'll ignore everything else that we say.
Yeah.
But,
and that's again why I love Raz's store so much. I love his approach because he's present to everything. He's not just trying to like get to some mighty goal as fast as possible and just, going crazy. Like he's taking his time with it. And I think, a lot of times for us, it just, when we give stuff time to let it work out, whether it's like, new brands in an ad account or whatever it is, things usually work out, and you want time to be on your side. And yeah, that's really been the main thing for us. Like, you have to be able to stay in the game. So I still have Kanan's question up. So I hope we I hope we answered it properly.
Don't
You
stop.
want to stay in the game, Kanan. I don't know if it's $500 for you, if it's $1,000, but you want to be, just aware of how much money you could spend before you're really screwed, or how much money you have coming in. Like, so, good times. How much capital did it take for Raz to get started with to where he is now? Sorry, I came in late. Thanks.
So just to like start making sales, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, like, how much
So
did you
I mean,
invest?
to include all the different costs, I guess, like I paid one of those stupid services to like make an LLC, so that was like what, like $150 or more than it would be to just go to the state. I did that. I think it was like Shopify gives you your first $100 in ad spend. And then I'm not sure exactly how much. Let's just say $500 for like all costs included for, I don't know, whatever apps that I needed to get, Tidio or whatever I had to pay, Shopify, all things. I would say like less than $500 to get started.
Yeah, there's really nothing to sneeze at for, like, you started a business and then you can make the money back on that investment in one sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, compared to the jewelry store experience that guy posted in the chat about, like, I can't even imagine working at a jewelry store. And, he said he was making like 1.5K net per week or something, which is nothing to sneeze at, but probably I would take Raz's experience versus the jewelry store experience, working there full time, any day of the week.
Yeah, and to just add one more thing to like the whole topic from like the last two questions is that like I think people that are like looking to get into this should see this for like for what it is, and like have gratitude that this is like a possibility. Like you can link up with like amazing brands and like be a distributor for them and make ridiculous amounts of profit and literally not have to put up anything. Like, I don't think people should be looking at how fast am I going to be able to make this work. Like, should I only spend $500? Should I spend $1,000? The fact that we could do this is like a crazy blessing that like has never been possible before now. Like, try to do this shit in the 70s, like you'd have to like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not possible. Like this is like, you got to have huge gratitude for this being a possibility. And like you can make some amazing connections. Like there's brands that I linked up with in 2018, 2019 that like I'm still making money from like to this day, and like it's like cool. Like, it's something that you should invest time into on a brand by brand basis, and just like be grateful that it's like possible for you to work with them, and instead of looking at like, oh, how fast can I get these results? And just be patient with the process and like see it for what it really is, because like you're not going to get this type of opportunity like doing other things. Like, yeah, it's not like you're just selling stupid like $5 mugs or whatever, or like $1 mug from Alibaba and like trying to make some scheming dropship store. Like you can distribute a really great product to people.
Yeah. I know you're meeting up with a lot of these suppliers too. Like,
yeah, I was blessed enough to like, actually like have nearby like great supplier that I could like go to their warehouse and like see their operation and get invited to their New Year's parties, and it's cool. Like,
it is crazy that you can basically do all this for virtually no money up front. And number one, you have a sellable asset. And now it's like you get to the point where you actually do have a good relationship with a lot of these really good suppliers. And when it comes down to it, you have this relationship. If shit hits the fan, number one, like you're going to be prioritized in their eyes, and there will likely be opportunities for you within that relationship. So, whatever it is, like you need to get a job for some reason, you have them, or, they run into like hardship, like maybe you can get stock allocation. So it is an important thing to do what you're doing. Matt said, so you're not actively trying to grow the profit at all, not adding brands, products, spend, or nothing. If you wanted to scale to 15 to 20K profit, what would you do to get there?
So, I guess, like, I'm not actively, like, today doing that necessarily, but like, every couple months, I'll just, like, have the inspiration to get a new supplier, or to, like, change something up. And, like, if I wanted to, like, I know that there's a lot of great content that you guys have put out, like, on SEO stuff, and, like, that would be a huge thing for me to do, is, like, deep dive into, like, some SEO stuff that I could do for these stores, and, like, it would really help with my profit, like, tenfold, I think. But, yeah, so I could, like, at any time, I could do that. I think that maybe this winter, or, like, this, as the cold comes in, like, that could be a good time to do something like that. I think just lately, probably, like, the last, year and a half, 2 years, since I've been doing the potion brand, that's been taking my main focus of, like, just getting that off the ground was actually a lot of work. And just to, like, tie it into, like, what we said about, like, supplier relationships and stuff, I was only able to make the potion because of the skill set that I gained through talking to these suppliers. Hey, we got that MrVon.com. Like, just talking on the phone to these suppliers and, like, making these stores, that's how I learned that I could just, like, hit up suppliers and, like, work with a matcha farm in Japan, and, like, import great matcha, and, like, find these great suppliers that I could create a product out of. And so I do actually put a lot of time into the potions, and I think that that's been, like, my main focus, because especially now, like, leading into, like, all these pop-ups and stuff that we're going to be doing, I think that that's been the main focus, like, the last year and a half, I'd say.
Why don't you tell people a little bit about what that is, and what you're doing with that? And because it's interesting how you said, like, it ties back to you were able to start this other business off of your drop shipping experience. So I guess talk a little bit about that, from that perspective. Like, when you started, like, what is this business? How did you start it? And how is it different? And how is it the same from your drop shipping experience?
Okay, so the potion is basically like a tea blend. It's a powdered tea blend that's matcha based, but it has 8 other ingredients. So it's like an anytime kind of, like, energy immunity enhancer. Um, so the way that it relates kind of to what I was doing with the drop shipping stuff is that in order to create the blend, I had to get suppliers um, for each ingredient. So I got the matcha. It's like this farm in Japan. I got, like, turmeric, ashwagandha, ginger, and cinnamon from India, from the supplier based out of India. I got the chlorella from the supplier based out of Taiwan, and the mushrooms. There's 3 mushrooms: lion's mane, reishi, and cordyceps, and they're from supplier based out of California. So I thought, like, getting those was, like, a similar process. Honestly, it was like looking into these suppliers, seeing that they're legit, trying out different suppliers, seeing, like, which ones would work, and then also we needed documents from each one in order to get our, like, nutritional facts label in order. So getting, like, the paperwork from them was in the similar vein of, like, how you would get set up with a supplier in drop shipping. So I'm technically, like, distributing all these different powders, but I'm putting it all into my own product. And then there was like getting the supplier for the bottles, for the corks. So I feel like all that stemmed from me being able to just get on the phone and like talk to different companies and create relationships with them.
Yeah. On top of that, I feel like if you didn't have your dropshipping stores, number one is just like experience that this could work. You know, it's like how many people like try and start up some sort of passion based project and they have no idea what they're doing because they've never started a business. Maybe they're at a job and it fails because they just have no idea what they're doing and they probably just don't believe that it's possible. So like they try and do it, they spend a bunch of money and then it's just done.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it definitely helped me with like having an actual idea of like, all right, what do I need to do? I need to set up an LLC. I need to get these suppliers. I need to get this certification for it. Yeah, I think it just doing the stores made me a lot more business minded. And then also it gave me a little more of like capital to be able to invest into a product like this. Obviously, when I was working a job, I wouldn't have like thousands of dollars to throw into a passion project.
Right.
Like I
And
do now.
and now say you mess up on this, you spend a little too much money, maybe you're gonna answer a few more calls or just be a little more
Sell harder.
yeah. just get it right back.
Yeah, you could always get it right back.
So I don't know if you guys got a hard stop right now. We're at 1:06. So I'm gonna try and
I got a soft stop.
okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'll start pumping the brake. Can we get to this? Will said in the beginning, it was challenging to manage the big influx of free time. I found that it takes a lot of discipline to actually be able to manage that. Will is a successful student of ours. Yeah, so he's probably trying to take it easy right now, but he doesn't know how to take it easy. Can you help him, Mr. Vaughn?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so right at the beginning, I think that I was actually like not comfortable with like not being at the desk and like actively like trying to do something. But I think that also was like detrimental in a way because I didn't like always know what I could be doing to like try and make the situation better. So I spent a lot of time just kind of like spiraling on my computer. And I don't think that's healthy and I don't think that makes it any more successful. So there was actually like that hurdle that I had to get over of like, you know what, sometimes you need to just fucking go for a walk. Get out of your head a little bit because you're going crazy.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of times I feel like I get the best inspiration like on vacation or something because you're actively not at your desk and like spiraling trying to like figure out what to do next. And so that next thing you have to do like will naturally come up because you're kind of getting rid of all the bullshit.
Yeah.
You're not looking at your email as much and you're not being thrown in a million directions. Yeah, it's
like David Lynch said, it's like kind of like meditation, like a form of meditation or like searching for ideas could be seen as like fishing. Like sometimes you want to just like sit down and like not try to not think, not try to not think about anything, but just like let your mind loose and then see if you catch anything. Because if you're constantly like your mind's racing, trying to find the next thing, stressed out about the next idea, it's just not gonna come because there's too much noise.
Yeah, I guess that's true. When people fish, they just fucking throw it, and then
they're
not like fucking throwing it, reeling it in. Like
yeah.
You can't just be doing it like that. So we're gonna skip through some of these. Kind of want to.
He says he's not wired to take it easy. This is no. I honestly have trouble with this too. Like I was talking about in the early days, I feel like it was beneficial to not take it easy. And now it's almost beneficial to take it easy. And so I really haven't like fully comprehended that in my brain. Because yeah, I'll go sometimes for weeks just with the wheels spinning, trying to, figure something out, and it doesn't lead anywhere. And then sometimes I'll do very little for a number of weeks, and then something good happens. So it's interesting how it works.
Yeah, it is truly a paradox.
The take it easy paradox.
Yeah, the take it easy paradox.
We also have return on taking it easy. We could take the ROTIE.
Roti?
Oh.
I'm trying to take it easy. What else am I going to do? Can't be broken board. Wait, all right. Toddy, I've been hearing a lot about TikTok dropshipping. What do you guys think about this new form of dropshipping? I know it involves a lot of product testing, and I'm not trying to do that. Raz, you on TikTok?
Oh, it turns out that a TikTok video of me was taken, but no, I'm not. I'm not on TikTok.
Man, what do you want to say, John?
I mean,
Trying to come.
it probably works. You know, I'm sure what I mean, not that it probably works. What I mean is that some people have probably made it work in specific instances and sold products on there. But getting back to the basics, you just said it yourself. It involves a lot of product testing, and I'm not trying to do that. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things about this that I'm not trying to do. The product testing being one of them. TikTok being the other one.
I was thinking about this earlier, like how much of a pain in the ass literally everything is except Google Ads.
Yeah.
Think about it. If you had, like, you're promoting your own brand, say like Build Assets Online, for example. Think about in the last 4 years, you've been running your ads consistently, probably have not changed very much in 4 years. But if you're trying to like do stuff on social media, what was on social media 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Were there even Instagram stories 4 years ago?
I don't think so.
All you probably had was like Facebook ads. There was probably barely any video that was like part of, mainstream social media. Everything is constantly changing in that world. And you're forced to adapt literally every like 3 to 6 months. You have to entirely adapt your business.
Yeah.
If it's based around social media. If it's based around Google, it can literally just sit there. And that's the great thing. So yeah, maybe the people getting TikTok ads to work right now, but I guarantee the way they're doing it right now is not going to be how it has to be done in 3 months. And it's not going to be how it has to be done 3 months after that. It's all constantly evolving. Or if you just use the search engine traffic, it stays the same. People are always going to be searching things. And so that's where I want to spend my time. That's what I want to get good at. Because say you get good at, making content right now, that's not going to be how it is in a year from now. You're constantly fighting against, I don't know. It's like the sand in your hands. It's all just evaporating.
Yeah. Matt says people love TikTok organic, man. Reach is just crazy for free traffic. If you're willing to make content for a product, that's more for branding, not dropshipping. I feel like these get mixed. Yeah, I mean, I would say that if you are trying to do some sort of branded thing, I don't know if TikTok is necessary. I'm not saying it's definitely not going to hurt, but at the same time, it's not something I'm trying to do. Like, I feel like if you're trying to make money, then I would just focus on the Google, like just doing what we're telling you. Just focus on the Google stuff and the business models revolving around search engines. If you're trying to make money in the most consistent way, if you're trying to build a brand, then I don't know. I guess you could do some of that stuff. I mean, realistically, if we wanted to grow Build Assets Online bigger, I don't want to say should, but like we could, put some effort into that, but I just don't want to.
Well, it goes back to the take it easy paradox. Because say we put in all this time and energy to build up our friggin' TikTok, and what is that going to get us back? We don't know. I mean, we've done some TikTok stuff for our dropshipping stores, kind of inadvertently.
Did we?
Just by nature.
Oh yeah, we did. Sorry.
Right. So we've had some videos that have done like really well, like 10,000 views plus. And like, do you know how many sales that's gotten us? Like probably zero.
Well, what is a
So
view? What is a first of all?
what?
What is a view? What is a view on TikTok?
I don't know.
Does it mean that someone watched the whole thing?
Probably
Oh,
not.
definitely not. No. I
Probably
don't know. I don't know what the threshold is. If it's for a second or if it's just in front of
yeah.
their eyeballs, I don't freaking know.
This kind of reminds this kind of reminds me of sometimes when people talk about Pinterest, or at least when they have in the past, they've used impressions as a metric.
Yeah.
Because if you scroll by a pin, you get an impressions, and like some mom bloggers would try and sell like a Pinterest course, and it'd be like, oh, my pin got 5 million impressions. When it's a useless metric. I would say the same about a TikTok view. In most instances, it's a very useless metric.
Yeah, it's really just like I said. There's plenty of people that make a lot of money with it, but the strategy is going to be different a year from now. And yeah, what we teach has just been consistently working for so long that it's hard to talk about and promote anything else.
And I don't want to make any sort of speculation on this, because I really don't know. But I will say that it wouldn't surprise me that if there is some sort of like, I guess, regulatory action against some social media stuff like TikTok in the next 4 years, let's say 4 to 8 years. Because I feel like everyone is like pretty much knows that it's bad. Like everyone, and I feel like it's kind of getting close to the tipping point where enough people know how horrible a lot of social media is, but we just don't know like what the next, like what the solution is going to be. And I don't know when the solution is going to come, but I would say we're at the point where enough people know how bad it is.
Yeah, or it just might change. Like again, things are just evolving so quickly. Again, 4 years ago, Raz started his store, and the account is probably 90% the same.
Right.
You cannot name. I don't even remember what life was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, facts.
Our brains are so much different. The world is so much different. But if one thing stays the same, when someone wants to buy something that's expensive, they go onto Google and they friggin' type it in.
That's so facts.
You know what's also one other thing I want to talk about with building a brand, and I feel like we've kind of done this, not even on purpose, but with not saying we've done the best, but how it really reflects the take it easy mode. When you make a podcast versus like another medium, a podcast we get viewers on Spotify, we get viewers on, this is a video podcast on Spotify now, but we get viewers on there, we get viewers from Apple, but we're not even paying attention to this stuff. And we're putting something out there and it has some sort of staying power. And stuff on TikTok has no staying power. So it's really, instead of compounding returns on your effort, I think a lot of it is diminishing returns on your effort, because you're only as good as the next TikTok.
Right. We got to pull up the online asset business criteria.
We do. I don't have a picture of it right now.
Me neither, but yeah, it's very true. So what else is there to say? People want to not learn TikTok, and they want to learn real business strategy, how to create high ticket dropshipping stores like Raz did, like we've done, like Matt's done, like Will has done. I don't know anyone else in here if they're in the course or not, but that being said, they can go to buildassetsonline.com/enroll, work with us one-on-one, get into our community, and work with a bunch of other people who are trying to take it easy. So we can cut it off here, I guess, unless you guys have any last things you want to talk about.
No.
Joe's really good. That soft stop is really kicking in.
Nah, I just want to say like thank you guys for having me on and for all the things that you taught me over the years. And yeah, I just want to emphasize what Mike said. Like, basically, don't follow the trends. Like, create a real business and do it on your terms. And maybe you want to take it easy. Maybe you want to go hard. Pause. Whatever works for you, and kind of just feel it out. And just know that things can change. Like, it could be right now you want to take it easy, and then in a few years you want to dive deeper and learn more things. There's always time.
Facts.
What does Gary Vee say? He says people say life is short, but life is long.
I've been eating shit for 17 years.
No, but you know, as much as we talk about taking it easy, like, Raz, you're thanking us for like what we've taught you, but I don't feel like you've actually asked us anything in 4 years.
No,
So,
I
like,
feel like I asked
you
you guys
take
a lot. I asked you guys a lot in the beginning, though, at least.
Well,
Like,
the other thing is Raz knows what our stores are, so there's no doubt that when you have a template,
yeah.
that's pretty helpful.
That's true too, but I feel like we're talking about like taking it easy and the lifestyle and stuff like that, but Raz actually does take action.
No, absolutely.
So
I was
that is an important theme here.
I was very impressed with your product pages, and I actually do want to add some stuff to the course, because just looking at Raz's store, I mean, it's not the gold standard store by any means, but it has a lot of it has the 80-20 of everything that's easy and that you could do. That's what I have to say about it. It has everything it needs. Nothing it doesn't need.
It's not much, but it's honest work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you for coming on, man. I know people really love these interviews, and yeah, that was fun. So, guys, want to learn more? buildassetsonline.com/enroll. You can go there, or if you want our free course, how to build $1 million in online assets, buildassetsonline.com/playbook. So that's it. Thanks again, Raz. You guys can take it or leave it, but as always, take it easy.
Take it easy.